Those of you who know this building well will know that this organ casing was built to the glory of God and in commemoration of those who served in the World War 1939 to 1945. We have recently, of course, commemorated 75 years since the end of that conflict in Europe. And like many others, I guess, I watched the BBC offering for the commemoration a couple of weeks ago. And as I watched, I started to cry. The stories of sacrifice and loss provided many reasons for sadness, but the thing that got me was the music. And the music that got me particularly was the old Cockney stuff. Knees Up Mother Brown and the Lambeth Walk. This feels like a difficult thing to admit. I haven't had much opportunity to sing those songs during my 30 years in Yorkshire. But the truth is, these songs reminded me of my dad and his mum, my nana. She was a proper Cockney, born within the sound radius of Bow Bells, and she used to sing these songs when I was a child. I miss them both. The VE Day stuff reminded me of their absence. Quite a lot of Christian faith is built on the experience of absence. If you had been here, Martha says to Jesus, my brother would not have died. Even Jesus cries out from the cross words from Psalm 22. My God, why have you forsaken me? And even the Easter story, the story of Easter morning, has a focus on absence, with an empty tomb and two men in dazzling white robes with the message, he is not here. And now we have the Ascension story, an image of the disciples looking to the sky as Jesus disappears. The ascension or disappearance of Jesus should not have been a surprise to those who followed him. Throughout the gospel accounts, we read how Jesus prepared them for it. He even tells them that it would be better for them if he went away. Towards the end of Luke's account, we read that as he withdrew, the disciples were blessed. And at the beginning of Acts, we read how the two men in white robes challenged them. Why do you stand looking up towards heaven? For a moment, I want you to imagine waking up on a winter morning. It is still dark, and you reach to turn on the bedside lamp. When the light first goes on, you are dazzled. The light is all you can see. It takes a while for your eyes to adjust, for your attention to move from the light to what is being illuminated in the space around you. I find that a helpful way of thinking about the Ascension story. While Jesus was physically present with the disciples, all they could see was him. All they could see was the light. With him so close, they couldn't see the way that he illuminated the space around him. While they could see him, they couldn't see what he saw. When I reflect on those VE Day commemoration songs, I realise that my tears were about more than absence. They were about more than simply missing my dad and my nana. And I do miss my dad desperately. I know that if he and his mum had been sat watching the TV with me, they would have been crying too. I sense that my time with them, particularly when I was growing up, enabled me to see the world a little as they saw the world. There is part of them in me. I sense that my tears that evening were also, in some sense, their tears. The challenge from the two men in white robes to the disciples after Jesus had ascended was one that said, look around you. See the world as Jesus sees the world. There is work to be done. What those disciples discovered is that Jesus hasn't really gone away. He has just gone deeper into our reality. He is the centre of all life, the source of energy and trust and love. What those disciples discovered was that Jesus was in them. I recently came across the poem Missing God by the 20th century poet Dennis O'Driscoll. I liked the poem. I particularly like the title. It resonates. It says something about our common human experience, and the words of the poem are a reminder that plenty of people look out at the world and conclude that it's a world without God. Maybe we all feel like this, at least some of the time. Times of pain and suffering and difficult diagnoses and bereavement. Times when we can't say it's not that bad, because it is. The Ascension truth is that just when clouds seem to be taking hope from our sight, we are blessed. The Ascension truth is also that at the heart of God is a man who understands suffering and pain, and who looks on the world, and who looks on us, on you and on me, with love in his eyes. The Ascension truth is that when we dig deeper into our reality, we find that Jesus is in us. We live out that Ascension truth when we look not to heaven, but at each other. When we look with Jesus' eyes, when we weep Jesus' tears, and offer each other gifts of kindness and compassion. Amen.